opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Shaw Cable Systems or of the station. Through our access policy, we provide the opportunity for community groups and individuals to express their points of view.
Hi, I'm Zach Jeffries and welcome to Saskatoon In Focus, the program where we talk to the people in and behind the headlines who make Saskatoon the great city that it is today. Today it's my pleasure to be joined by Pat Lorje, who, as you all know, is the City Councilor for Ward 2 here in Saskatoon. Thanks for joining us, Pat.
Thanks, Zach. It's sort of bittersweet this week coming on to your program because, of course, we've just had a very important and very hardworking councillor pass away.
Right, and I did want to touch on that here. Of course, unfortunately, last week, the Councillor for Ward 3, Maurice Nault, unexpectedly passed away. I was wondering if maybe you wanted to share some thoughts on his service to Saskatoon. You were both, of course, on council for a number of years together.
Yeah, I guess, first of all, I really want to say that I think, well, I know all of Saskatoon joins me in sending our deepest condolences and sympathy to Sandra and his two children and his grandchildren. Mo was a real character. He had a way with words where he would kind of turn things into a real folksy way and just sort of chop it right down to size so that everyone could understand exactly where he was coming from and what he was promoting. So, and he worked tirelessly both before he was elected to council. He was a great community advocate, and then after he was elected to council, he was the kind of guy who would roll up his shirt sleeves and go out and water the plant pots on Confederation Drive if the city wasn't doing it. So he will be sorely missed.
Absolutely, and I agree. That's definitely something that I noticed about him too. He was a hardworking, very straightforward kind of guy, and you always knew what Mo Nault was thinking. I guess he wasn't like some people view politicians who might occasionally bat around something. He was very direct, and I think that's something that will be missed here in Saskatoon.
Yes. Yeah.
So of course, with that, it's really put some business in Saskatoon on hold a little bit. The City Council meeting for July has been postponed until August. The one item on that City Council agenda that I think people are interested in hearing about and seeing occur is the RFP for recycling in Saskatoon.
I'm already way ahead of you on that one. Yeah,
it seems to be the issue that never dies. It's been going on and on and on. Pat, where is recycling at right now in Saskatoon?
Well, it's waiting for City Council to approve the exact terms of reference for the request for proposals. We will be going ahead and we will be seeking input from the private sector to see how much it will actually cost and under what terms and conditions they would be able to deliver a plastics and paper recycling program for us. We did decide to delete glass from the stream. There is a motion, a notice of motion given by Councillor Paulson to separate out collection from processing so that all interested parties will be able to bid, and we'll see what happens after we do the RFP process. The only thing I would say is Saskatoon is the very last mid-sized city in North America to embark upon a curbside recycling program.
So, but to make it clear, recycling is not a done deal yet in Saskatoon by any means.
No, it's not, but it would require a rescinding motion to go backwards on it. And I believe we will be carrying on, and we will be keeping the depot system for people in multifamily dwellings or people in single-family homes who don't want to use the curbside service, but there will be a universal curbside service for all single-family homes.
So another issue, I guess, that's going to be coming forward once City Council comes back is something I think that's been referred to as a service review. Now,
strategic service review. That's basically
review.
We're looking at, are we doing the things that we are absolutely mandated to do? Are there things that we've picked up from federal and provincial levels of government that they weren't doing, that helped make Saskatoon a better place, but maybe we could get out of the business now? That's what we're reviewing.
So in Councilor Lorje's opinion, are there things that the city's doing right now that they should get out of?
Well, right now what we're doing is we're responding to the administration's list of things that they think we could review. I think we need a larger, more macro look at the whole thing. We need to look at whether or not we have the proper employee management mix for various things. We need to look at the whole question of how we provide transit service, particularly to the suburbs. Should we be focusing on our highly used routes, or should we be continuing to subsidize the private automobile, basically, because we've got this policy. Every time we open up a new suburb, we give them full transit service. Now, is that the best way to do it, or is it perhaps better to have a dial-a-ride system for the suburbs, whereby they would go to a bus stop, but phone ahead and say, by the way, I need some bus service to be able to go to the transfer station so that I can then go on my merry way downtown or wherever. So those are all, we will be reviewing that. We need to look at all sorts of things. But the bottom line is we cannot abandon the programs that make Saskatoon unique and special and help those who are least advantaged in society. We know that there's real direct links between crime and poverty, and so we want to break those links as much as possible. Saskatoon is a leader in terms of affordable housing, and it's paying off for us. So I will fight tooth and nail to make sure we keep our affordable housing initiatives.
And I guess the service review is also about trying to make sure that taxes stay in check as well. Of course, next year is going to be an election year in Saskatoon, and I've noticed in past that taxes tend to stay in check more in election years than maybe in off years. So perhaps that's something that's being considered as well?
Well, I think that kind of feeds into the cynicism that people have about the political process. And I don't know that you're necessarily correct in that. City Council, in my opinion, does the right thing and we try to keep tax increases as low as possible. But of course we have costs that we can't really control and that are not in lockstep with inflation. The basket of goods and services that you expect from a municipality is not the same as the things that go into the shopping cart for deciding the consumer price index. So the big issue, I think, for us is to take a look at the capital projects. I think that Saskatoon has got itself involved in too many major capital projects all at once. And we need to take a real hard look at the operating and maintenance costs of some of those capital projects.
When we talk about capital projects, the one thing that I did want to bring up as well is in Ward 2 we do actually have some exciting things that I think not a lot of people would disagree with. We have Station 20 West, which did receive some support from the City of Saskatoon in terms of some extensions and a lot of...
and the land.
And the land itself. Mm-hmm. And that's about to break ground here.
Yes,
so
yes.
How do you feel as the councillor for that area?
I'm really excited. I'm really
happening?
excited about it. I think it's a good project. There will be a grocery store component to it, a small grocery store, but still a grocery store. There will be healthcare services there, and it will complement the library that we have finally rebuilt on 20th Street. There hadn't been a library on 20th Street since about, I think 1956 or so is when it shut down. So it will be a good project. There's other things happening in Ward 2 as well. We're finally finishing the circle. It's no longer going to be called Semicircle Drive. It'll be Circle Drive with a proper bridge with proper bike and pedestrian lanes on it. So that's really exciting. And all the green energy initiatives that we're doing at and in and around the landfill. With one exception, I have some problems with the wind turbine that they're proposing. I think it's noisy, it'll create vibration problems, flicker problems, and quite frankly, we won't be making enough revenue to justify it. I have to say that not all green projects are created equally, and I believe we can get better energy savings by tapping more into the methane gas that's created at the landfill, rather than sticking a huge tower up and interfering with navigation flight plans.
So, and we'll briefly touch on the landfill as well. You mentioned that there was recently a plan that was put forward and passed, I believe, at City Council to extend the life of the landfill by really piling more garbage on the existing site.
Right, to take it up, I think it's almost 1,000 feet. So that's 300 and some meters. And you know what? That will only work, that plan will only work if we have curbside recycling. If we don't, then we are into the mugs game of looking for another landfill site, which means in today's climate, I don't think there's a single farmer who would want to sell his or her land for a landfill. And so we will be looking at significant transportation costs, significant land costs, if we have to rebuild the landfill.
And we're almost out of time here, Councilor Lorje, but the one thing I wanted to ask as well, that just happens, these are always good conversations, is we just found out that Saskatoon's growth rate is just going crazy. Really, yeah. Saskatoon grew in the last 6 months something along the lines of 7,500 people, which is absolutely amazing. When you're around the country and you're talking to other people at other conferences, people in other jurisdictions, what do you say to them about what's going on in Saskatoon? What's your quick sales pitch?
Well, I have to tell you, first of all, I don't do a lot of traveling as a city councillor. In 5 years, I've gone to one conference in terms of international downtown development, and then I did go to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities conference this June because we will be hosting them next year. So what do I say to those rare occasions?
Or to friends or colleagues around the country?
I think Saskatoon's a really great place. Saskatoon has a heart. And we have some known problems that were created, not by any of us, but from several years of not thinking as aggressively and as socially responsibly as we could have about the needs and concerns of people who live in the inner city and the west side. That has changed. There are significant developments in Ward 2, which is primarily the inner city and west side ward. And it's on the move. Riversdale is on the move. Pleasant Hill is changing. Things are really looking up, but there still are issues that we have to deal with. We can't let down our guard.
And I know that City Council is working hard at making sure we do make Saskatoon a better place.
I'm not going to say what it does. Okay.
But
that's the mayor's tagline, not mine.
But I am excited to see Saskatoon going forward and the progress that City Council is going to be making over the next number of months and years. And I'm also very excited to be sitting down with a number of your council colleagues. We are going to be doing a series of these interviews as we go through all of your colleagues on council and make sure we get the perspectives from all of Saskatoon.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you very much for doing this. And again, I know that you were at Mo's funeral on Saturday, and it was a tough, emotional time. It's very unusual for a councillor to die in office. So I hope that the people of Saskatoon will bear with us and don't feel too much animus, because we did decide to cancel the July meeting. We did it out of respect for Mo and his great contribution to council.
Well, we did lose one of the greats here in Saskatoon. So thanks again for joining us. I really appreciate your time, Councillor.
Okay.
And that's all the time we have for Saskatoon in Focus today. I'm Zach Jeffries. Thanks so much for joining us. Please make sure to connect with us. We need your feedback so we can make this program the best that it can be. Find us on YouTube, on Facebook, find us online at saskatooninfocus.ca, or send us an email, saskatooninfocus@gmail.com. When we work together, we can make Saskatoon the best city in the world.
The opinions expressed on the program you have just watched are not necessarily those of Shaw Cable Systems or of this station. Through our access policy, we provide the opportunity for community groups and individuals to express their points of view.